How's it going there, guys? November 25th, gonna start off on the whiteboard here and then move over to the TV. Got a few things to cover today because it's been a couple days, and this is the list of what we're gonna cover. We're gonna talk about McCain's boot and whatever leg it's deciding to be on today. We're gonna discuss how the Clinton Foundation was actually busted in China. A couple connections I'll make for you guys there. We'll go over some of the latest Q posts, discuss some of the Taliban drug labs that have been blown up over in Afghanistan the past few days. We'll talk Egypt, some pedogate news, and I will discuss an article I saw in the mainstream science journals talking about how limitless clean energy they admit could actually exist. But wait, I thought that was just pseudoscience. Lots of doublespeak that they're telling us. So anyway, thank you guys for those of you who signed up for the webinar that I did this week, kind of why I took some time off. There was a few technical difficulties in it, so if you signed up and didn't get to watch, I will be emailing you soon, as long as I've heard from you. Sorry about that, guys. Make sure you go sign up for my newsletter on my website. I'll be messing around with MailChimp today and get something out. And then thank you all who signed up on Patreon too. I'll be posting another video there probably today. So let's move over to the television here, and as you can see, we're going to start off with John McCain. So this is actually a picture that I posted on my Twitter account, if you follow me there. If you don't, I suggest you go do so. But if you follow me there, you've seen this already. And I'm sure you've seen it around. And this picture on the right here was posted earlier this month, I believe a couple weeks ago. And this picture was him on Thanksgiving Day. And you can obviously see the boot switched legs, went from right to left. And at first, a lot of people thought it was some kind of just reframing of the picture. A lot of people didn't think it was real or it actually changed legs. But then we saw on John McCain's Twitter, he actually said, "Thank you for the support and best wishes." His left leg was doing extra work to compensate for the boot, so I'm giving it a break, I'm assuming, by switching it to his other leg. But why? Wait, if one leg's sore, why would it make any sense to take the boot off and put it on the other leg, you know? And it's just, it makes no sense, so he's covering up for something. In my opinion, I would think if it's actually an ankle monitor, as some people believe McCain and Clinton and others to be wearing, if it's actually an ankle monitor, I think he was forced to change it by whoever placed the ankle monitor upon him. Why would they do that? Well, easy way to get the keen public like you and I to question. We question, we talk about it, and we spread the breadcrumbs into the collective consciousness. Do you see? It's all mind games, folks. So that might have happened. In my opinion, that's probably the case. So that's McCain's boot. Now I want to talk about this story out of China. And we saw, let's wait for it to load here, but it was actually a US-run nursery that got busted for child abuse. These things never tend to load for me when I'm doing these videos. It's pretty weird. But anyway, so there was this US-run institution. It was called RYB. It was an RYB company. And this company was busted for, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. Basically busted for messing with kids. So these kindergartners, as you can see here, they were fed white tablets and a brown syrup. A lot of them had needle marks, and it's very weird, this big scandal breaking in China. Well, this daycare center, RYB Education, is what was running it, right? RYB Education. Well, in looking at RYB's connections, it's currently headed by this man. His name is Joel Getz. Well, this is his profile on Bloomberg, and as you can see here, he was actually a former director of development for the Clinton Foundation. Well, then you can see he has been the independent director of RYB Education since September 2017. Real weird. So we have a man who used to be a director at the Clinton Foundation, now heading the institution that was busted for child abuse in China. And you can see RYB Education operates some 1,300 daycare centers and nearly 500 kindergartens in 300 Chinese cities. Well, it's quite interesting. If Donald Trump went to China recently, maybe there's some plenty of stuff going on behind the scenes to clean up the globe. Again, not just the Clinton Foundation's connections here in America, but we have this RYB education being busted that has direct connections to the Clinton Foundation. And this was an interesting note I saw, is that Mr. Getz started at RYB Education in September 2017. Well, this article on Russia Today here that was discussing RYB Education states that it began being publicly traded on the stock exchange in New York in September 2017. So it looks like this man, once he became the head of RYB with his Clinton Foundation connections, that allowed this company to then be placed on the stock exchange. So I'll let you run with the breadcrumbs there. Speaking of breadcrumbs, let's discuss some of these Q posts. I'm going to go back to the 22nd, and we're really going to go up from there. This is a great running collection of Q posts that I found on 4chan. I'll post this down below. But basically he says we're winning bigly. And a few up here on the 22nd on Wednesday, he posted this one that I'm going to run with a little bit. And he says 4.9 billion in government subsidies. Why? Well, who got $4.9 billion in government subsidies? This guy, Elon Musk, for SpaceX. So Elon Musk a couple of years ago got 4.9 billion in SpaceX, in subsidies for SpaceX. Well, here's the thing about SpaceX, guys. Some people are saying I'm way behind, but that doesn't necessarily matter because I can give my own opinions and put my own breadcrumbs out there. So the thing about SpaceX is that it's heavily been partnered with the Air Force and with Lockheed, actually. Has contracts with Lockheed and has been sending up secret space planes for the Air Force. Well, here's the thing. When it comes to secret space programs and the UFO phenomenon, the Air Force and Lockheed have been two primary corporations and groups, factions you could say, that have been doing a lot of the disinformation about this topic, about secret space programs and propulsion systems, anti-gravity and whatnot. If you look all the way back to Project Blue Book, that was an Air Force funded program to basically dispel or call all UFO phenomenon fraudulent. And SpaceX is heavily leaning towards working with the Air Force and Lockheed. So I'm very concerned about SpaceX. You know, a lot of people talk about Elon Musk as being some white hat, being some savior for humanity, trying to get people onto electric. But the thing about Elon Musk, why would you call your company Tesla and not even use Tesla zero-point energy technologies? It seems like a giant smokescreen there to me. And, with Elon Musk trying to get everything onto electricity, well, here's the thing. Where's that electricity made? Even if you're driving an electric car, your electricity is going to be made most likely in a coal power plant or with oil. Somewhere. You got to plug it in, right? So it just seems ridiculous to me that he would tout his electric vehicles that still have to run on energy gained from fossil fuels, all while calling his company Tesla and not even using real Tesla technologies. Speaking of Tesla, I found this article on Futurism yesterday, and it discusses a new vehicle that is a new electric vehicle that's rivaling Tesla motors, okay? And man, these things really don't load when I'm going live with you guys here. It's pretty ridiculous. But anyway, so this new vehicle was called... It's killing me. Tesla is rolling over his grave. I'll just answer some questions while this loads. Absolutely, Tesla's rolling over in his grave. And funny enough, a lot of Tesla's papers are kept by the FBI right now. Wonder why. But anyway, man, this thing isn't loading. Okay, well anyway, this new vehicle was called Nikola. You can look it up. Nikola. So this brand new electric vehicle called Nikola is rivaling a company called Tesla, right? And I just can't, like, the truth in plain sight there. They're literally slapping you over the face with it. You can't get any more ridiculous than that. But let's go back to these Q questions. So 4.9 billion in government subsidies. What is SpaceX? It's, I was kind of labeling it out to you, but it's basically the privatization of space research. So the reason NASA and the government is really trying to privatize space research is because of FOIA acts, Freedom of Information Act requests. You can actually, from what they'll approve, you can find out some information that they're hiding with FOIA requests. So by making everything privatized, you can enhance the secrecy greatly, and you can make all these subsidies and all these tax-free holdings go into a private corporation that's SpaceX. So it's enhancing the secrecy of all these secret space programs and the technology associated with it. Interesting here, North Korea and SpaceX, you know? Wonder where they get their rockets from. Do you believe in coincidence? The world cannot swallow the truth. Let's hope it can. What is Facebook? Spying tool. Who created it? Probably the Clowns in America agency. But, you know, funny enough, I was watching Jason Bourne, the brand new one, the one that came out in 2016, watching it last year, and it was amazing truth in plain sight. They literally have this company that in the movie they called The Dream, or I believe The Dream was something to that effect, but basically the government was, in this movie, trying to use the social media giant to spy on the people. Amazing truth in plain sight right there. Clowns in America. Not sure what these ones mean. The castle runs red. I have seen some interesting data about how that might correlate to the Queen in England and the House of Windsor. Hopefully the storm sweeps past that. And this is an interesting one. Came out on Thanksgiving. What news broke? American contractors where? Hanging from feet. Let's go to that one. So, this article, exclusive, American mercenaries are torturing Saudi elite rounded up by new crown prince. And this article stating that Prince Al-Walid was hung upside down just to send a message. But who are the contractors? Who are the mercenaries that they're outing in this article? Source claims mercenaries are from Blackwater. Holy shit. They're literally outing Blackwater with this article. So, that's big. That's pretty cool stuff, right? Interesting breadcrumbs right there. Reread dumps. Why is this relevant? They're outing some of the Blackwater contractors right there. This one here, who is Betsy DeVos, and why is she relevant? Well, she's been placed at the head of the education department in the Trump administration, right? Well, that's a pretty big position, especially if you're controlling the minds of the people. Remember, the Department of Education was set up by the Rockefellers and other very wealthy families in the early 1900s here in America. So if we're really going to win this war, if this storm is going to take hold, you have to get it to take hold in the minds of the people, which is why somebody, whoever is going to be running the Department of Education, is a pretty important position there. Let's see. Make the connection. Matt currently has 43 confirmed connections. Important to understand. Obviously, mainstream media is not to be trusted. You are the voice. We are here to help guide with the breadcrumbs. That's why it's so important for everybody watching this to spread those crumbs. We are the calm before and during the storm. So when shit really hits the fan, we're going to be what helps people who don't understand get through it. And then last post here, then I'll move on, is this one. He posted a picture. Interesting breadcrumbs. So this picture is of Kim Jong-il, none other, and people of the Clinton administration. So you can see the direct connections here. You can see John Podesta and his stone-cold face standing in the middle there, and basically just breadcrumbs of the connections. So I'll post that down below and you can run with it. That vehicle still isn't loading. Now let's run to the rest of the articles. So this one by Fox News, again, this stuff just takes so long to load. And it just happens when I'm on this right here. It's crazy. It's not crazy, makes total sense, right? So search for missing Argentine submarine will continue. And I want to put this story out there because one of the crumbs that Q dropped in just the past few days, I didn't see it here, must have been a few days before that, but he basically said the hunt for Red October was one of the lines. Well, with this Argentine sub missing, I'm really worried that that might set the stage for some kind of false flag attack or something to that effect. Maybe this sub was nabbed by some military faction aligned with the deep state. Again, not just the American deep state, but the global deep state. So I really want to know where this sub is, and I want to know what's on the sub too. So I wanted to throw that article out there. Let's talk about what's been going on in Afghanistan. So President Trump has just launched a military campaign of his own using high-tech stealth fighters to bomb drug labs in the country, in Afghanistan. So here's what you have to understand about what's going on with the wars overseas. Normally, I'm completely against war. I'm against, it's totally unnecessary unless that war is against, of course, the elite that are controlling the planet, the deep state. Now, in the Middle East, the wars going on are much different than the past. Of course, during the Bush administration, Obama's administration, all the wars in the Middle East were just a big fucking smokescreen because the CIA and company were directly funding the people we were at war against, right? Well, now that's not necessarily the case, and many of these wars going on overseas are against ISIS. They're against the deep state themselves, their proxy armies. So it's as if, that spy versus spy game is extending overseas. And now we have many US stealth fighters targeting basically what we could call the CIA drug labs. Because these Taliban drug labs, where do they get their funding from? Where do they get their money from? Where do they get their arms from? CIA. So this is a big development, right? We're seeing ISIS being weakened dramatically. They're being pushed out of Iraq, out of Syria. And the Taliban, or whoever the heck's in Afghanistan, right? These proxy army names change every other week. Now they're being attacked. So this, to me, is a good thing. I'm for this kind of war when it's against those who don't have humanity's best interest in mind. Next, let's move on to what happened in Egypt. That mosque attack, death toll is now over 300. I do believe this was probably some kind of deep state retaliation, some kind of false flag attack. And who knows, maybe this was to prevent some events, some sweeps or cleanups from going on in Egypt, or maybe that's very soon. And this article here, former Secret Service agent threatens to reveal details about Bill Clinton and the Lolita Express. So this is pretty funny. We had a dude who worked as one of Hillary Clinton's aides, and this person was basically loving on her. She has enormous respect for the Secret Service and a great relationship with all the agents on her detail. But, I actually, personal story here, I've met a man before. He was in the National Guard, but he was actually stationed quite a few years ago to cover an event that Hillary Clinton was at. He actually talked to some of her Secret Service detail. And, when I was talking to this guy, he was telling me about what he learned when he was on the detail with them, and he said that all of them hated Hillary Clinton. And he told me this personally. Well, I highly doubt that this man, of course, bias alert, he worked as a Hillary Clinton aide. Of course, he's going to say she has enormous respect for them. This man, who actually used to apparently work as that Secret Service, putting evidence out there, is threatening him. They got in a little scuffle, and he said, "Be careful, Nick. People know things not yet publicly released about your Messiah Hillary. Don't poke the bear. Epstein and email gate." So, if you can delve down a little deeper into some things that haven't been publicly released and find out for yourself everything that's going on around Jeffrey Epstein and Lolita Island, and even you can research into Laura Silsby and the human trafficking that goes on with the Clintons. But, good outing right here. Can't wait to see what he may or may not tell us. Couple pieces of pedogate news to round up everything here. LA County to expect massage parlors in fight to end human trafficking. This was on the LA Times. So this is evidence of what's been happening in this country the past few years, is that the grassroots, the local agencies, the local law enforcement are being freed up to do their job much more so, to actually investigate human trafficking leads and all of these things, because it's always been stifled. It's been stifled from the top down. And of course, in the top of the agencies, say the top of the FBI, there's still a lot of skullduggery and whatnot that goes on there. But I'm talking local and grassroots efforts, they've been freed up to do a lot more stuff. So that's why we've had, what, the number might be up to 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 different human traffickers and pedophiles being rounded up around the country over the past year, is because of their the ability for that to happen. So good news there. Overseas, Interpol, 40 human traffickers arrested, hundreds of children saved. Again, the storm is global. Lots of people in law enforcement and in government that are good people, that are fighting the good fight, who are being freed up to actually do their jobs. And this is a cool article that I want to share with you guys here. Mysterious booms are being heard around the world and experts are baffled. So this is simple evidence of earth changes that are going to go on. And these earth changes involve many different things. They involve magnetic pole shifts, that involve potential cosmic ray bursts from outside the galaxy, from our sun. Lots of different crazy things going on in our electric universe here. And this is just evidence of that. Booms being heard around the world. So, side note though, it could be earth changes, but it could also be underground military bases. I don't doubt that. A lot of these booms could very well be stuff going on underground. So it could very well be some dumb, deep underground military base, a dumb being attacked, explosions occurring underneath the earth, you know, lots of different things this could be. Just a couple of speculations on that. And last thing I want to share with you guys is this article. It says physicists just found a loophole in graphene that could unlock clean, limitless energy. You know, holy crap. And I'm saying holy crap because the mainstream media is actually, are they admitting that clean, limitless energy exists? I thought this was always something crazy, something that was pseudoscience, that could never ever exist. But now somehow, because of graphene, it is, right? And you could just simply see the hypocritical nature of the media here, in that free energy has been around for years, decades. Go back to Nikola Tesla, maybe even others before him. And with this article now saying, ooh, this loophole in graphene could unlock clean, limitless energy, what they're trying to do is manage disclosure of this. They're trying to manage it. So not only do they want to manage disclosure of the extraterrestrial phenomenon, but they want to with the technology associated with the extraterrestrial phenomenon, and that is clean, limitless energy, free energy, and they're doing so by way of graphene here. But it's interesting to note as well, what they say is basically the graphene vibrates. It vibrates at an atomic level, and this somehow creates heat that they're going to be able to tap forever. You know, I don't doubt this to be true, but the thing is, there's so much more truth they're not telling you. They're not telling you that cold fusion has been around since the 1980s. There's been scientists that have died trying to expose cold fusion, Dr. Eugene Mallow, and that's never made it to the media. We've had zero-point energy technologies, you know, radiant energy, as Nikola Tesla called it, of course, since the times of Nikola Tesla, and there's been many, many others. Dr. John Searle, Dr. Keeley, I mean, there's plenty of other researchers. So that's my point here, is that free energy exists. Mainstream media, anything you see coming from them is going to be written very specifically to manage these disclosures. But if you just do the research yourself, you don't need to wait for that disclosure to come through the mainstream, which it won't, or if it does, it'll be half-assed. You can just find everything else out for yourself. So anyway, guys, that's basically it for today. Thank you all. Someone says space is fake. I totally disagree. Anyway, someone said I need to turn on Snapchat. I'll definitely maybe do that one of these days. So much I'm trying to do right now. But anyway, take care, guys. I'll be back with one of these for a live Q&A just to hang out one of these days, maybe later today or tomorrow. But anyway, have a good weekend, guys. Take care.